Somebody please, anybody, I'm begging you to come get T.I.
Give me your wig. Give me your wig. Give me your wig. Give me your wig. 'Cause it seems like you
So T.I. said that we could have whatever we like except common sense, it seems, except common decency, and except parenting skills that make any sense. I'm going to talk about it a little bit later, but first, I want you all to go over to patreon.com/AdrianExpression, like I always say. The latest episode of the Expression podcast has been released on Tuesday, and it's called Over a Sandwich. That's what it's called. You need to go over there and check it out. If I had enough coin, I'll just give some of you hoes farms so you can make your own sandwich instead of going to Popeyes and stabbing bitches in the chest and shit. Damn, it's not that serious. I promise you it's never gonna be that serious, girl. Take your asses to old McDonald, cause I told you that he got a farm. E-I-E-I-O your ass to a chicken and make your own goddamn sandwich. Do not go to Popeye stressing out these fucking employees, and do not go to Popeye stabbing. Also, I've been thinking about doing a Patreon exclusive, Patreon only, like audiobook type series based off of my Zoraxia Wrath of the God King ebook. I kind of want to read through all the chapters, but I want to put it on Patreon only, kind of do it through the Expression Podcast platform. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, you might want to go ahead and go over there and sign up. I know a few of you have already bought it, but I figured why not? Let's just go through and read it together. And also it's because I'm in the process of finishing up the outline for the sequel, so I want to review the book as well so we could do it together on Patreon. I figured that would be really cute. Hopefully my voice will sound good. I have never done no audiobook type shit, but I wanted to read it with you guys. So as I just said, my podcast episode, in the beginning I kind of talked about what's going on with Popeyes and how a lot of people are causing a whole lot of mayhem when it comes to these drive-thrus, when it comes to standing in a line. Of course, I didn't only cover that. I talked about some of the comments and questions that you guys sent in. I also talked about Halloween, that emergency announcement about climate change. I talked about Richard Spencer's rant. There's a whole thing going on patreon.com/AdrianExpression. But since I started it out talking about this Popeye situation, I just want y'all to understand that it's okay. It's okay to act like decent human beings when you approach these cash registers, when you approach these employees who are behind the counter. It's all right to act like you have some human decency when you're placing your order for this damn chicken sandwich. Like I said in the podcast, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they're sprinkling some type of drugs in there to make everybody act a little bit crazy, but I hate to see it. There was a whole thing about this guy who literally got stabbed to death over, I guess, people fighting in a line in Popeyes. I also saw this particular video. They're over here playing bumper cars, I guess, trying to get into the drive-thru. I'm wondering if there is a immortality spell that has been cast over this sandwich, and that's why people are trying to fight each other and kill each other literally over this sandwich. I also saw this, just in case there's this stereotype that only black people are acting up at these Popeyes. This man said, "Do not touch my truck.
Ever hit my truck, bitch?
Or else you're gonna get your ass beat through in the Popeyes drive-thru." I also don't like that y'all are taking pictures of the Popeyes employees and making memes out of it. It's just like that. This picture actually made me sad. The huge emotional and mental toll that I'm sure these employees are paying while getting underpaid to handle y'all crazy asses, it's just way too much. I really, like I said, it's okay to calm down. And JaRule was over here trying to say that it's okay to calm down as well. He said, y'all really out here acting like niggas over a fucking chicken sandwich. Shaking my head. Now, I'm never gonna eat one on principle alone. Fucking idiots y'all are. What's wrong with our people? I'm so disappointed in my people. We're better than this. And I don't understand how JaRule thinks that he's going to be sitting on anybody's high horse. Don't know if he thinks that he's going to be sitting on anybody's throne, Iron Throne, Game of Thrones tease, when he was out here scamming the hell out of not only the people who bought tickets to that fraudulent ass Fyre Festival, but he also scammed the people of the Bahamas. So sis, I understand that maybe you see some trending topics and you want to put your 2 cents in, sis, but let me tell you something. You only have 1 cent, okay? And I know that's the same amount of money that you probably put into these lunches that you serve these people at the Fyre Festival. Sit your ass, like JaRule, we didn't really need to hear nothing from your ass. I promise. I'm not going to talk about Donald Trump Jr. for too long because I feel like it would be a waste of my breath. But if you want to hear a funny joke, this is what a headline said. It said that Trump Jr. said, "My dad isn't racist because he let me and Eric play with Michael Jackson." And it's just really interesting. Out of all the lawsuits that his ass has been getting sued for racial discrimination, out of all the discriminatory things that he's been saying when he has the platform, whether it's at his rallies or at White House press meetings, out of all the heinous bigoted shit that he said, We're going to ignore that, Donald Trump Jr., and focus on the fact that he let your ass play with somebody who was rich and famous. The joke that you said was funny, but I didn't laugh. Speaking of politics, Ayanna Pressley, she broke with Talib, Omar, and Ocasio, the squad as they're known, and she ended up endorsing Elizabeth Warren. That was an announcement that was made today when I'm recording this. She said, out of the statement, there was a long statement that she made, but one of the quotes was, "You've all heard about the senator's plans, but here's the thing. The plans are about power, who has it, who refuses to let it go, and who deserves more of it. For Elizabeth and for me, power belongs in the hands of the people." So this race is getting really interesting. Okay, for Ayanna to break off from the squad and announce that she is giving Elizabeth Warren her stamp of approval, it's going to, I feel like the debates are going to be delicious. I feel like the back and forth on social media and in the media in general is going to be delicious when it comes to this election. I just hope that as we savor the flavor, we actually get this man out of office. I just hope that all of this strategy and polling and all this shit, I hope that it leads to getting this man out of here. And I'll speak a little bit more about that when it comes to Mitch McConnell a little bit later in this video. But first, I wanted to go ahead and get to the topic at hand, which is T.I. T.I. says there's so much that I could talk about when it comes to the dumb shit that you've said, but this by far is one of the most alarming, intrusive, abusive things that you've ever said, and it's about your own damn daughter. I just, that's the thing with misogynists. You keep thinking that your ass will be protected just because you're their daughter or you're their wife. All women in misogynist life, it's like their property, okay? So you ain't got no hedge of protection around your ass. It's like their property. It's like they can walk all over you, especially if you're their child. It's actually crazy. So T.I. was on this podcast, I think with Miguel's wife. So the podcast episode is called Life Hacks, and the podcast is actually called Ladies Like Us. Let me just read you. It's a little bit lengthy, but I want you to get the full perspective of what T.I. was saying. So he says, so it's this one time we go, he's talking about his daughter. The whole thing is that he takes his daughter to the gynecologist. They go every year. Keep in mind his daughter's 18, right? They go every year. He has the gynecologist inspect the daughter's hymen to make sure that she's still a virgin. So this is what he said. This is so ridiculous. This is what he said. So it's this one time we go, I think this might have been her 16th birthday. This is what we do. Right after the birthday, we celebrate. He said, usually like the day after the party, she's enjoying her gifts. I put a sticky note on her door saying gynecologist tomorrow at 9:30. So we'll go and sit down and the doctor will come and talk, and the doctor's maintaining a high level of professionalism. Basically, the doctor's saying that Deja has to sign this thing. Then he tells Deja, they want you to sign this so we can share information. Is there anything you wouldn't want me to know? See, doc, no problem. And so then they come and say, well, I just want you to know that there are other ways besides sex that hymen can be broken, like bike riding, obviously athletics, horseback riding, and other forms of athletic physical activity. So this is what he says to the doctor. Look, doc, she don't ride no horses, she don't ride no bikes, she don't play no sports. Just check the hymen, please, and give me back my results expeditiously. He also talks about basically his wife Tiny owing him sex. It's actually ridiculous. First of all, you can see the oppressive ass attitudes that a lot of these fathers or men have when it comes to women versus men, because if I'm not mistaken, his son King or whatever, they were talking about his virginity and lack thereof, and the way they approach that is nothing like how he approached his daughter's virginity. It's just crazy. Also, the fact that these are men who don't want their daughters to be around men like them, that should already tell you enough. The fact that he's broadcasting all of this information for all of us to see about his own goddamn daughter, who is 18, a legal goddamn adult, is also insane to me. This shit is extremely abusive. It is intrusive. A lot of parents think that they will be raising some child that will always bow down to the will of the parent, and that's absolutely not true. If you raise your child like this, they will be sneaky a lot of times. They will be the best liars. They will end up knowing how to maneuver situations, navigate situations smarter than you in ways that go completely over your head, and they're doing it right underneath your nose. It's interesting the way that a lot of these misogynist men sexualize their children, their own children. The lack of privacy and the lack of, this is extremely dehumanizing. And this is coming from Madame Noir. They're saying T.I.'s daughter is still a virgin, which works for the rapper because that way it sounds like he thinks she will have a hard time getting guys to stick around. He said, "They're no fun. Who wants a virgin?" he asked. Like, really? All that work? This is how you know you're dealing with a full-blown misogynist, is if you are a grown-ass woman, or even, I don't understand, like, if you're gonna have talks about sex with your kids, like, it should be informative and progressive and open-minded, open-hearted, because if you don't tell them some shit, they're gonna find that shit out on their own. You see what I'm saying? You should want them to have autonomy. That's what I'm saying. You know you're dealing with a full-blown misogynist whenever women reach for their autonomy in sex, they try to block that shit, but when men do the same thing, they encourage it, right? So it's cool for their sons to be talking about sex and getting girls and all this shit, but as soon as their daughter does it, it's a whole different story. And it's just like, y'all need to raise boys and girls the same way, because the way that y'all socialize boys and girls a lot of times leads to men thinking that they can just run over and do anything that they want to a woman's body. It leads to sexual assault, sexual abuse. Even his own wife and his own daughter, when they want their own sexual autonomy, when they want to make their own choices about sex, he tries to block that shit. He doesn't want them to have that power, but at the same time, when it's time for him to get some, or males in general, it's like none of them wants their sexual actions to be policed by women at all. It would not happen. So it's really unfortunate that T.I.'s daughter has grown up in that type of environment, because it's so unfortunate when women and girls are made to loathe their own sexual desires. They're made to hate themselves or be ashamed of themselves because they want sex or they're thinking about sex. And so what that leads to is unhealthy actions and practices and decision making when it comes to sex, because they ain't been allowed to or ain't been thought of having enough sense to make decisions on their own. It's absolutely terrifying. That's exactly what it is, terrifying. I hate to see this shit for T.I.'s daughter, but it really opens up a huge conversation about the hatred and policing of women and their bodies. I hate to see it. Not gonna talk about them for too long, because like I said about Donald Trump Jr., they're in the same basket and they're not really worth too much of my breath. But Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star they came out with this new conspiracy palette, and first of all, the shades are fucking ugly, and they're giving me very much clown tease, the way that the shades are not even related to one another. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I just wanted to bring them up because it really relates back to that video I made about there being no such thing as cancel culture. I think over 1 million palettes have been sold out within the first day, and I think they're been sold out up until 2020. So it's just like, every time that y'all get mad at me and other people that I love and follow for holding some of these racist, tone-deaf assholes accountable for the things that they said and the mentalities that they continue to promote, understand that no matter how much we talk, there will still be people with their sentiments who will have no problem buying every product that they release, watching every YouTube video that they create. So it's okay. Your racist faves, if that's what you're worried about, your racist faves, there's no way for them to get canceled. They're gonna continue to make money. If we can have some racist ass presidents, I promise you we can have some racist ass social media stars like we always do. What that means is, you wanna know what that means? I'm gonna continue to talk my goddamn shit. Let's jump back to politics for the last segment of this video. You wanna hear some news about the turtle, the snapping turtle, the tortoise? You wanna hear a little bit of news? This is coming from Newsweek, and it's about Mitch McConnell. During Tuesday's election, Andy Beshear, I think, a Democrat, defeated incumbent Republican Governor Matt Bevin by a narrow margin of less than half a percentage point. Despite the close race, McConnell's critics saw the Democratic victory in a historically red state to be indicative of the senior Kentucky senator's fate. Kentucky voters first elected Mitch McConnell to his position in the Senate during the 1984 election, and he's since become the longest serving senator for the state. Oh, get his life alert needing ass out of there. He's up for re-election in 2020, and some speculated his time in office may be coming to an end, and I certainly do hope so. He's going to be challenged by Amy McGrath. She's running for Senate against him. They're saying that if we can get this Republican Kentucky governor out of here, there is no reason why we can't get Mitch McConnell ass out of here. She is a former fighter pilot. I do not know too much about her, but let me tell you something. In July, she released this, basically a political ad saying that she was running against Mitch McConnell. She said that Mitch McConnell was elected a lifetime ago. That's what she said. And she also said he's DC and all the government, all those areas in which these political players are playing games with our lives, that area is where good ideals go to die, okay? So they're thinking of getting that turtle, they're thinking of getting that Mario Kart video game character, build ass Mitch McConnell right up out of all these government buildings, take his ass out of here, put him on a farm where he belongs so that he can start digging the plot of land that he should have been underneath a long time ago. And lastly, since we're over here talking about Kentucky, Papa John's founder, John Snatter, is that how you pronounce his name? I don't know. His last name is sounding to me like snot, and it's really fitting because that pizza is disgusting as well as his mentality. So yeah, here is Papa John's founder, and he's attending a Trump rally in Lexington, Kentucky, girls. Are y'all ready? Are you ready? Say it with me, say the slogan with me. Shitty values, shitty pizza, Papa John's. Man, I would rather go to Cece's Pizza. We could even go to Little Caesars. Matter of fact, we can go to Walmart, find a pizza in the frozen dinner section, drag it across some pavement. We could even douse it in some Nickelodeon slime, drag it across the unswept floors of T.I.'s mind, put it in the oven and eat that. We would rather do that than order anything from Papa John's, okay? On that note, if you like this video, make sure that you go to patreon.com/AdrianExpression and sign up for extra content, early content, and my podcast. Thank you all again for watching, and make sure that unlike the gynecologist of T.I.'s daughter, that you have a good goddamn evening.